Hello, everybody, and welcome to Starting Small Music. I'm Justin McCormick, and you're about to hear a conversation with an artist, musician, and music industry professional on their journey and how they got to where they are today. At Starting Small, we like to take you on a journey uncovering the untold stories of your favorite songs and artists. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Just keep a smile on your face and it'll be okay. Try not to be bitter, you gotta do it either way. Keep a smile on your face and it'll be okay. So when life throws a jab, you gotta duck out of the way.
Welcome back to the Starting Small Music Podcast. Today we have hit songwriter, session bassist, Doug Kahan with us. How you doing today, Doug?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm doing awesome. So getting right into your story, you grew up in Michigan. What was your childhood like?
Well, I don't think it was too unusual. I was in the suburbs of Detroit, so it was, riding a bike around or playing army or whatever. But when I was real young, there was like an influx of suburban bands, and so we would hear about or hear a band in the neighborhood and ride our bikes. I think it's even like there's a movie that has that in it where the bands would set up in their garage, open the garage door, and kids would roll up on their bike and just stare at them. And the band might only know like 3 songs, and you just watch like, oh man, those real drums. So that was kind of the introduction to, wanting to be a musician and seeing how cool it looked to be standing there with a guitar.
Now, other than those bands, who are some of like the bands that are like albums you were listening to that like really made you feel a connection to music growing up?
Well, I had older brothers. I have 2 older brothers. So I kind of there was an advantage where my oldest brother actually saw Jimi Hendrix. So he was like, to me, he was like, hey man, don't be listening to the Monkees, or he's like, listen to, check out Led Zeppelin, man, check out, Cream. And so I started listening to that stuff, which led to Aerosmith and stuff like that, which was just so fun to learn, like start to learn to play and trying to play that stuff because it's riff rock.
Right.
So it's really all about learning licks. And so that was a blast.
Now,
But actually, I started on drums. I begged my mom for a drum set. I don't know why, but I wanted to be on drums. But I noticed when I got to the level of being in a garage band, the guys in front were getting more attention. So it was like, no more drums, man. I'm going up front.
I mean, and now you play bass, and I mean, the drums and bass have such a connection together. Did that help you launching like just your rhythm, playing drums, and then going to the bass?
I think so. That's a good point. I know whenever I would play with someone, especially if I was playing with somebody new, I would kind of get over by the drums and a lot of times just kind of stare at the kick drum and really kind of lock into like, what's he doing, and try to get that thing together where you're playing together and doing a groove together. Right. Love that, man. I love that low end of music, the rhythm, just the propulsion,
For sure. Now, was it around high school time you started playing in your own bands like around town?
Yeah. So I was doing like trying to learn Grand Funk songs in the basement, and nobody was really that good. But we could knock out a couple maybe a Black Sabbath song or something or 2. But then in my junior year of high school, I joined a trio. It was a keyboard player and a drummer, and they were both in high school concert band. So they were doing completely different music. They were playing in like B flat, which was a wonder to me, and they were playing, more sophisticated songs, singer-songwriter, Carole King or Billy Joel. And so that was really, really helpful to go beyond my 3 chords on the guitar And then they convinced me to join the high school concert band. And I'm like, man, I can't read music. They're like, you'll learn. So I did. I joined the band and played upright, and that was great. That was a blast playing upright. But, and learning to read music. I can't anymore. I'm too rusty, but it was a really good way to learn some theory, broaden my musical horizon instead of just staying in the rock and roll vein.
For sure. Now, what does that senior year in high school look like for you? Are you already thinking in the back of your mind, like, I'm ready to go to Nashville, take this thing to the next level? Or do you know your parents going to make you want to go to school? Take me through that process.
Well, Nashville wasn't in the picture then. I didn't really know anything about Nashville, and I wasn't real versed in I knew traditional country music, Hank Williams and stuff like that. But by the time I was in high school, I went to a year of college, and I took as many music courses as I could. And when the second year came up, it was going to be all the classes that I had to take. Mm-hmm. And so I said, well, I'm already gigging, so I left. But it was always like, trying to make it, be in a band and get to the next level. And then later, after got a couple of record deals, was very fortunate to get connected with an influential manager. Bob Seger's manager, Punch Andrews, was my manager. So I had a lot of opportunities to learn and to write and to tour. And then Nashville came later on because of a friend here named Blue Miller, who was in the Gibson Miller Band.
I got you. So was that just a decision? Did you want to not be the frontman anymore, or was that just like this opportunity was presented to you that he needed a bassist for this band he was working on?
Yeah, no, it was. I didn't mind not being the front man and running around. Mm-hmm. I love playing, especially live. And his real name is Bill, but Blue Miller had moved to Nashville, and he was a hero of mine because he'd played with Bob Seger when he was in high school. And so I remember meeting him, and I had a cassette of like original songs, and I was like, hey, can you listen to my songs I made up? And he was super cool. He did, and I came back to where he was playing like a week later, and he invited me to his house, and he kind of mentored me on recording and songwriting, and he's the reason I got to move to Nashville. He gave me that opportunity to join the Gibson Miller Band. Now, and at the time, actually, before I had ever been here, he was saying, hey man, you need to move to Nashville. It is really great. And I said, man, I don't know if I can live in a town that ends in Ville. I didn't know how cool Nashville was, man, because I had never been there. So right. When I moved, it was like, wow, this is unbelievable. Yeah.
So did you even have the songwriter thing in mind when you're moving to town, or you were just going to go in town and go on the road, play bass?
Well, I always was trying to write. I had done that since I was really young because, being a fan of Paul McCartney, for instance, he was, would play everything, write, sing. Yeah. And so I always was trying to do that. And when I moved to Nashville, though, I was writing awful songs because I was thinking, if I was going to write a country song, it had to be country. So I was trying to put things in there like, sawdust on the dance floor and the tailgate of my truck. And it was not honest. So when I went back to just writing a song the best I could, then making it a country production, I started getting some cuts.
Yeah. Now, going back to Gibson Miller Band, what is like some of your best tour memories on the road with them? I remember even seeing a picture of you and Willie Nelson on the road. What are some of your best highlights on the road with Gibson Miller?
Yeah, Willie. We went on Willie's bus, and just from the smell of the bus, I don't remember getting off the bus.
Absolutely.
Super good guy, man. But he had his own scent.
Oh yeah, he had some good cologne.
Oh my goodness. He was smoking those funny cigarettes. Yeah, I got to meet him and we opened for him. That was fantastic. Got to meet on a TV show, got to meet, and I got a great picture of us with Johnny Cash, which was, wow, man.
Wow.
That's like standing next to Mount Rushmore, standing next to that guy, man.
Right. Hey, I mean, you'd be up there too. You, Johnny Cash, Willie Nelson, the Mount Rushmore.
Right. I'm the guy that sweeps their noses. Dust off there. Yeah. No, those, like, a lot of those people were great. Hank Jr., we opened some shows for him and went on stage with him, like on the encore, and he's got his amps, like big Marshalls, leaning like right up to him. So if you're standing within a 20-foot radius of Hank Jr., your skin's gonna peel, man, because those amps are loud.
Wow.
He's the yeah.
What do you remember about the time period that you guys won ACM Group of the Year? Tell me about when you guys hear about the nomination and then actually winning the award.
Yeah, well, that was totally a shock because we were in the category with a band named Black Hawk, which was really successful, had big hits, and then another band called Boy Howdy, which is Jeffrey Steele's band. And Jeffrey Steele is, still huge writer, great singer. So we thought, yeah, we got no chance. So when they brought up our category and they announced us, nobody got up because we were like, what was that, us? So then we really were in shock and went up and got that award. And I remember after getting the award, you have to leave like through the backstage, and then you have to come around when they're on a commercial before you can go back to your seat. You're kind of outside the auditorium. And I was walking back to get there, and there's a famous actress named Liza Minnelli. I don't know if you know who that is. So she was out there having a smoke, and I just was like so freaked out that we won. I just went up to her with the award and I go, "Hey, Liza, look what we got." And she's like, "Hey, that's great. Good for you, buddy."
That's hilarious.
Yeah, man. She was very cool. Everybody was cool. That was a great night. Big party afterwards that night.
Were you riding with them on the road too? Like in between shows? Like you ride it all with Blue?
We did a little bit. I've written with Blue a lot, and we've done cuts together, and I wrote with Dave a little bit, but that dynamic at the time was really those guys focusing on their writing team, and most of the songs on those Gibson Miller records are Dave and Blue written. So I was kind of newbie. It got to earn my place,
For sure. Now, fast forwarding a few years, one of my favorite songs you've written is "Drinking with Me" by Jon Pardi, and I think the story goes you actually wrote it in the room you're sitting in, right?
Yes.
So tell me about the day you wrote it. What do you remember about that?
So John came over, and the other writer, Britton Cameron, who he had that title, and just that title was like we're off to the races pretty quick, because it's like and it's got that stutter thing. Does anybody want to go drinking with me? And we were plowing.
Yeah.
Want to go drinking with me. So we had a blast writing that, and then we did the demo. You and I have done a lot of that here.
Yeah.
When we did the demo, we wanted to have sounded like it was a bar. Even for the demo, we wanted to have people yelling. And so my demo, I still love that demo.
Oh yeah.
It's got John and Britton and I just screaming, "Anybody want to go drink with me?" "I do. Me too." Drunk guys, supposedly, at 11 in the morning, writing a song in the suburbs.
Do you remember who threw out the word anniversary? That's such a cool word.
Yeah, I don't, but that's really funny. Yeah, because it's just the looking for those me rhymes,
Right.
It's went a little outside the box on but a debauchery.
Hey, it works.
Yeah. Yeah, great.
Now, stepping away, this is something we haven't talked about yet. You're also a really in-demand session bassist in town, playing on the #1 records of Justin Moore, and more recently, you played on some big records of Cody Johnson and Travis Denning. Do you have a song you're most proud of in the studio that you've worked on?
Well, I don't know about, I mean, I'm just so grateful always to play, because the studio experience, even though I've done it for 20 years, it's really magical. Somebody comes in and you have a demo and you listen to it, and all of a sudden everybody walks out to their instrument and it just goes boom. And it's this amazing song, and it sounds finished almost immediately.
Yeah.
That still gets to me. I mean, it's still amazing magic to me. I remember, I remember one song that with Gibson Miller Band, I thought was going to be a big hit that wasn't. We did a remake of Mamas Don't Let Your Babies Grow Up to Be Cowboys.
Oh yeah.
And
yeah.
yeah, and it was in a movie with Woody Harrelson and Kiefer Sutherland called The Cowboy Way.
Mhm.
And Blue came up with this really cool rock version. It wasn't 6/8, it was 4/4. And I thought it was awesome, but you just never know. It didn't climb that high in the charts. And I was like, man, that's actually the one of the positive things about songwriting, especially in Nashville and those sorts of things. It's there's no cover charge, so when you write, you don't know, man. You could write a stiff, or you could write the next honky tonk badonkadonk.
Right.
And everybody really kind of has a shot. There's people, that have more connections, but that is an enticement, to keep trying.
For sure. Now, talking about songwriting, we've had the pleasure of writing countless songs together. Are there any favorite songs in our catalog or memories that stick out to you?
Our catalog?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. In fact, I just heard your mix, and what I forgot.
Bad Girls.
Bad Girls. Yeah. Good girls are good, but bad girls are better. That's yeah, little Stones in there.
Yeah.
That's great. Sounds great, man. Love that one. The I listened to was Strangers Again.
Oh yeah.
That's a really cool that guitar and just the lyric content about it, like time going backwards, and we were lovers and now we're strangers again. I like that song a lot.
Make a Girl Cry has always been one of my favorites too.
Oh yeah, beautiful song. That's a somebody needs to cut that out there.
I know.
Justin's catalog.
So let's talk about songwriters. What's a mistake you see young songwriters make when they first move to town? I mean, you write with a lot of them when they first move to town.
I don't know. I think moving to town right off the bat is a really positive thing, because it's kind of like that saying, must be present to win. If you're here and you're networking and you're meeting people and meeting other songwriters, new songwriters, going to writers' nights, testing out to see if your material gets any reaction, all those things are really positive. You can accomplish a lot, like you're doing with your podcast. That's great, or any social media. But I think when you're here, there's a big benefit to that just in itself, just being here. And then once you sit down with somebody to write, I think it's always really important to be yourself, to be honest. Like when I first came, I would look at a pitch sheet and it would say, Alan Jackson needs a mid-tempo song, nothing about beer.
Yeah.
And so you do that. That's part of the craft. But maybe in the middle of that, trying to do that, somebody would say, hey man, how you doing? It's like, well, my grandma died last week. It's like, oh man, I'm so sorry to hear that. How are you doing? It's like, well, I'm carrying a heavy heart, or something's like, oh man, that's a great idea for a song. And then you go that way. And when you're writing something that's your own truth, I think you come up with a really great song. So I would say to young writers, like, don't be afraid to be vulnerable, and don't be afraid to express your life, because that's your life. It's very unique.
Yeah.
And in those unique things, that's where people connect universally.
For sure.
You
No,
got a lot of that, man. Your songs like that, like Make a Girl Cry, or the song that you wrote for your dad.
yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, man. You're very good at that. And another thing I guess would be, when I think of you, is come prepared. When you write with somebody, you always had great ideas, melodies too, just a good idea of like, this is kind of what I want to say. And so that makes it a lot easier to get moving and get finished.
Well, I appreciate hearing that from you, Doug. That means a lot. No,
Oh yeah, you're doing, man. You're a great writer.
thank you. No, going through your credits, I mean, talking about great writers, this is probably the king. I saw that, like, in the people you worked with, you've had the pleasure of working with Craig Wiseman. Was that in a session or a song, like a songwrite? What was that?
No, I never did any songwriting with Craig. I wish, man. He is amazing. I mean, he's been a #1 writer since before I moved to Nashville. He's a force of nature. But I did a lot of his demos for a few years,
Right.
and some of his demos were so thorough that some of them actually would just go right to, like, if he pitched it to an artist, like we did a song for a Chris Jansen record. I can't remember the title of the song, but his demo was so good, they just used that.
I think it was on the Everybody album, wasn't it? I'm pretty sure. Chris Jansen's Everybody album, yeah.
Yeah, so Craig is I'm a huge fan of his catalog, and he's got a song, one of favorite of mine, by Chris Knight. It's called "It Ain't Easy Being Me."
Yeah.
Check it out, man. That's a great song.
Do you know Titty's Beer, Montgomery Gentry?
Yes. Now, yeah.
That's one of my favorite Craigs. It's so clever.
Right.
It's a brand.
That's
No.
right.
To close out my interview, I like to ask, I mean, we already talked on a common mistake you see writers make, but what's a piece of advice that you've learned along your journey that you'd want to give to a young artist or producer moving to town, wanting to be where you are?
Just like keep going. When I moved to town, they used to say, for songwriters, they used to say that Nashville was a 10-year town, and that you could expect to grind it out for 10 years before maybe you got a cut or a big hit.
Mhm.
And I don't know if that's true anymore, but it really is the thing, the tortoise and the hare. If you keep going, you'll just meet people in this circle. Your circle will get smaller, and always you can always, like, ask people. Like, when I've been at sessions as a bass player, I would ask the engineer, man, hey, why are you using that Valhalla reverb? Or how do you do your compression for vocals? And everybody has always been, guitar players, fellow bass players, like, so helpful. Hey man, let me show you this, you'll like this. And that's a big thing, is like, when you get with people that are further down the road in Nashville, everyone's been great and super helpful. It's really more camaraderie than competition, I'd say.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Make sure to subscribe and leave a comment, and check out my music on all streaming platforms at Justin McCormick. See you guys next time.